The laughter echoed through the arena like thunder, drowning out the announcer's voice as General Crickstar slammed his armored fist against the viewing platform's railing. "You call these humans warriors?" he roared, his 4 eyes gleaming with amusement as another Earth soldier was carried off the arena floor. "My children could defeat them with their eyes closed." The Galactic Military Conclave had gathered representatives from 47 worlds to witness Earth's formal introduction to the interstellar community. For 3 days, humanity's finest soldiers had faced off against alien champions in ritualized combat, and for 3 days they had been utterly humiliated. Commander Sarah Hayes stood rigidly at attention as the crowd's mockery washed over the human delegation. Her jaw clenched as she watched Lieutenant Morrison limping toward the medical bay, his armor cracked and smoking from his encounter with a Thrillian shock trooper. "Perhaps," sneered Ambassador Velthak from the Zephyrian Empire, his serpentine form coiled in apparent amusement, "Earth would be better served in a support role. Logistics, perhaps? Supply chains? Something more, suited to your capabilities." The assembled aliens burst into fresh laughter, their various forms of vocal amusement creating a cacophony that made Sarah's teeth ache. She had trained her entire life for this moment, humanity's chance to prove they belonged among the galactic community. Instead, they were being dismissed as comic relief. "One more," she said quietly, her voice cutting through the noise. The laughter died. General Crickstar leaned forward, his massive frame casting a shadow over the human delegation. "Excuse me, Commander?" "One more fight," Sarah repeated, louder this time. "Give us one more chance to prove ourselves." The general's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Your bravest warriors have already fallen, human. What could you possibly offer that would change anything?" "Someone who has been training for this moment his entire life," Sarah replied, her eyes never leaving the general's face. "Someone who understands that true strength isn't about how much noise you make, it's about how quietly you can end a fight." A figure stepped forward from the shadows behind the human delegation. He moved without sound, his bare feet making no whisper against the polished floor. The aliens fell silent, not from respect, but from confusion. The human was unremarkable by any galactic standard. Average height, lean build, wearing simple black clothing with no armor or visible weapons. His face was calm, almost serene, with dark eyes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "This?" General Crickstar's voice dripped with disbelief. "This is your champion?" The man, who had given no name, only bowed once to Commander Hayes before stepping forward, said nothing. He simply walked toward the arena's entrance, his movements so fluid they seemed almost liquid. "He looks like a servant," Ambassador Velthak hissed, his forked tongue tasting the air. "Where's his armor? His weapons? His war cries?" "The loudest warrior is often the first to die," the man said softly, his voice carrying clearly through the arena despite its gentle tone. "My master taught me that silence is the most honest form of communication." The alien audience erupted in fresh laughter. Even some of the human delegation looked uncomfortable, shifting nervously as their mysterious champion entered the arena floor. General Crickstar gestured to his greatest warrior, Thane Gorvok, a 7-foot-tall Bertarian whose fists could punch through starship hull plating. The creature had defeated every opponent in under 30 seconds, usually with a single devastating blow. "Very well," the general announced to the crowd. "Let us conclude this embarrassment quickly." Thane Gorvok lumbered into the arena, his massive frame casting a shadow over the silent human. The crowd's laughter intensified as the size difference became apparent. The Bertarian was nearly twice the human's height and probably 4 times his weight. "Any last words, little shadow?" Gorvok rumbled, cracking his knuckles with sounds like breaking bones. The human closed his eyes for a moment, centering himself. When he opened them again, something had changed. The air around him seemed to thicken, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. "In stillness we find our strength," he said quietly. "In silence we find our truth." Gorvok charged with a roar that shook the arena walls, his massive fists aimed at crushing his opponent's skull. The crowd leaned forward, expecting the fight to end in the next heartbeat. It did, but not how anyone expected. The human moved like water flowing around a stone. One moment he was directly in Gorvok's path, the next he was somehow behind the charging Bertarian, his hand barely brushing against a specific point on the alien's neck. Gorvok's roar cut off mid-bellow. His massive frame toppled forward like a falling tree, crashing to the arena floor with a thunderous impact that sent vibrations through the viewing platforms. Complete silence descended on the arena. The human stood calmly beside the unconscious giant, his breathing unchanged, his expression serene. He hadn't drawn a weapon. He hadn't thrown a punch. He had simply touched his opponent, and the mightiest warrior in the Galactic Conclave had fallen. "Impossible," General Crickstar whispered, his 4 eyes wide with shock. The human looked up at the viewing platform, his dark eyes finding the general's gaze. "Possible," he corrected gently. "Just unexpected." Ambassador Velthak's serpentine form uncoiled rapidly as he leaned forward. "What did you do? Some sort of poison? Hidden weapon? Knowledge?" the human replied, his voice carrying easily through the stunned silence. "Thane Gorvok's people have a nerve cluster at the base of their skull. Apply pressure at the correct angle with the proper force and the nervous system temporarily shuts down. No pain. No permanent damage. Just sleep." The implications hit the assembled aliens like a physical blow. This human hadn't just defeated their champion, he had done so with clinical precision, demonstrating knowledge of Breterian anatomy that even their own doctors would struggle to match. "How many of us have you studied?" General Crickstar's voice was barely above a whisper. The human smile was small but somehow profound. "All of you." Commander Hayes felt her chest swell with pride as she watched the alien delegates exchanging worried glances. The mockery had evaporated, replaced by something far more valuable. Respect tinged with healthy fear. "You see," the human continued, his voice gentle but carrying absolute authority. "While your warriors train to be the strongest, the fastest, the loudest, I train to understand, to observe, to learn." He gestured toward the unconscious Gorvok. "Every species has strengths, but every species also has pressure points." The phrase hung in the air like a promise and a warning. General Crickstar slowly straightened to his full imposing height. "And what do you want from us, human?" "Nothing you weren't already offering," the man replied. "A place at the table. A voice in the discussions. Recognition that strength comes in many forms." His eyes swept across the assembled aliens. "We don't want to conquer you. We don't want to replace you. We simply want you to remember something important." "Which is?" The human's smile widened slightly, and for the first time it carried an edge sharp enough to cut steel. "The most dangerous opponent is the one you underestimate. And the wisest warrior is the one who wins without fighting." As medical teams rushed to attend to the still unconscious Gorvok, the human walked calmly toward the arena exit. The crowd parted before him like water, their previous laughter replaced by awed silence. Commander Hayes met him at the exit, her eyes bright with questions she didn't dare ask in public. "What's your name?" she whispered. The man paused, considering. "Names have power," he said finally. "But you may call me Shadows. It's what I am and what I've always been." As the alien delegates began heated discussions about humanity's unexpected capabilities, Shadows disappeared into the corridor as silently as he had arrived, leaving behind only questions and the lingering impression that Earth's greatest warriors might not be the ones who made the most noise. They might be the ones no one saw coming.